The guitar snobs are gonna hate this video. There was a time when you had to drop thousands on an amp, cab, mic, and a boutique preamp just to maybe record a decent guitar tone. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the 10 years of trial and error to figure out what sounds good actually means in a recording context. And then amp sims came along. Great! Now it's cheaper and way more complicated. You don't just need an amp sim, no. You need an IR loader, a pre-EQ, a post-EQ, an overdrive sim, multi-band compression, and a crud damn astrophysics degree to figure it all out. And after all that, your tone still sounds like a microwave fart. Why in the fuck can't this shit just sound good? Well, as it turns out, for 99 bucks, it actually can. Recording tech has come a very long way in the last decade. When I first started this channel way back in the Stone Age of 2014, most software amp sims and plugins were flat out garbage. Sure, they promised great tone, but let's be honest, they sounded so bad, I came up with a term to describe the sonic glory that was emanating from them. Fried assholes. Now, of course, there was the Axe Effects and the Kemper. They sounded great, but at what price? Because at what those cost, you could just grab a real amp and get killer results without all the digital menu diving. Because they had options. Lots and lots and lots of options. Hey guitar player, welcome to the wonderful land of option paralysis, where your riff dies of old age while you scroll through 300 presets with names like Thick Chunk 7B. And then came the dumbest flex of all. Now I can play 10 different amps during a single show. Right, because nothing screams professional musician like crippling indecision. Let's be clear, playing 10 different amps at one gig does not make you a great guitar player. Despite the fact that you're trying to convince yourself that that very expensive purchase was actually worth it, nobody came to your show to hear your virtual amp collection. In fact, the band that opened for you that can only afford the cheap stuff, yeah, nobody gives a fuck about that either. Here's a radical idea. Try playing the fucking song and entertaining people! But on the recording end of things, towards the end of 2018, software started getting interesting. The first software amp sims that actually sounded good started hitting the market. And when any new technology comes out, a flood of competitors hits the market as well. And in the case of amp sims, everybody and their mother had an amp sim up for grabs. And with all those amp sims, you guessed it, even more options, because nothing says unleash your creativity like diving through endless menus instead of actually playing your guitar. They give you every knob in the universe except the one that actually makes it sound good. It got so ridiculous that my friend Scott Elliott made a course called Guitar Tone Mastery just to help players make sense of the endless amp sim rabbit hole. And guess what? He sold a ton of those courses, which just proves one thing. Too many choices is not freedom, it's a fucking headache. It's primarily one of the reasons that I bit the bullet and bought this Neve console. So instead of trying to figure out what brand of EQ and compressor I'd be using on a mix, I can just reach for the ones that work and I can get shit done. So now that we've got this amazing amp sim technology, what do we do with it? Simple. Make 5,000 clones of the most overused cliche in modern metal, the 5150 into a vintage 30. Because in 2025, originality on social media is about as welcome as a jazz solo at a deathcore show. And faking it on Instagram, that's totally fine, as long as you don't get caught. Anyway, sometime around 2022, somebody finally clued in on two painfully obvious truths. Too many options kill creativity, and metal can be played through amps that aren't a 5150.
No way.
That's when the Bogren amp knob Rev C hit the market with a beautifully simple philosophy. Make an amp sim that sounds good without any fucking about. Just turn the knob and it works. And honestly, it's fucking brilliant. Because I've reviewed thousands of mixes on my Monday live streams, and I've heard just how damned awful some of those guitar tones are. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some absolute rippers out there too. But given how much free info is out there about how to record metal guitars, you'd think we'd be drowning in great tone by now. And if you actually believe that, congratulations, your expectations are completely divorced from reality. And yet trying to explain to guitar players that just turn the knob, it'll sound good, is pretty much like explaining the theory of relativity to a bass player. But it's only got one knob. Hold on, weren't you just in the comments over the last 5 episodes of this show preaching about how sound is in the hands? Funny how that wisdom always disappears when a plugin only gives you one knob to play with. Fuck's sakes, which one is it? I know, it's exactly the opposite of whatever I'm saying in any given video. Guitar players blowing people's minds with amazing songs because they already fucking know everything. But the Rev C kicked ass because it did sound good. And it wasn't a 5150, it was based on a dual rectifier, an amp that most listeners wouldn't be able to pick up in a mix versus a 5150, but hey, at least it looked different. So what did Bogren follow that up with? An entire suite of 5150 sims called the BDH, because of course they did. Otherwise, guitar players might start discovering their own sound, and we can't have that, now can we? All the guys on Facebook might get real upset about that one. But to their credit, it sounded great. They even added the option to turn off the included impulse responses for advanced users that might be looking to break out and develop something a little bit more unique. Or just slap on the same IR that's been floating around the Andy Steep forum since 2008, because nothing screams innovation like recycling the exact same cabinet profile for 17 fucking years and pretending it like it's some kind of trade secret that everybody uses but nobody's willing to admit to. Isn't there more to metal than just 5150s and dual rectifiers? You're damn right there is. Look, I love Carcass Heartwork and In Flames Clayman, but I also love the guitar sounds on British Steel, Ride the Lightning, and Seasons in the Abyss. Now, much like the BDH bundle, the brand new BDM bundle gives you 3 flavors to choose from. And just like before, the naming scheme is super clear and totally not confusing at all. I mean, BDM 75, 800, and 410 JVH. What could possibly go wrong? Now, to Bogren's credit, it's still easier to remember than Lewitt's mic names. I mean, seriously, who the fuck greenlit something like DPT340TT? Sounds like a printer driver from 1997. The actual fuck, guys! Anyway, here's what we're working with. The BDM 75. According to the website, the tone is in the wood. Yeah, it certainly is. That is until you swap the impulse response and then the magical wood fairies disappear. But this one's clearly based on a Marshall JMP. BDM 800. Gee, what amp could that possibly be referencing? Maybe it's a secret prototype from Behringer? BDM 410 JVH, aka the Marshall with more knobs than a 747 cockpit. Thankfully, Bogren ignored all that complexity and stuck to their one knob rule, but gave you 4 channels to choose from. Fair trade. Now, when I think Marshall, I think Judas Priest. So it's time to bring out the big guns, the replica Glenn Tipton Strat. Yeah, this one right here. And yes, we are going to be auctioning this guitar off to raise funds for Parkinson's research. Stay tuned for that. All right, so first we're going to start off with the BDM 75, and I thought I'd play something a little bit more period appropriate for it. So we're talking, you know, like pre-1980 kind of stuff, maybe very early 80s at the latest here. And I'm doing a Tipton style here. I'm just kind of backing off the tone knob on the pickup ever so slightly, and this is what we get. Oh yeah, that is like point of entry British Steel for days. That is super cool. You know, if I'm in for that kind of vibe, I guarantee this is the plugin I am going to reach for. It absolutely nails that kind of sound. Next up, we got the Bad Boy 800. This one comes with a little bit of delay as well. You can switch it on or off. Got a bit of that ping-pongy thing going on. Again, it's a basic thing, but even on my own records, I'm putting on a little ping-pong delay on about 98% of the lead guitar I've ever done. Yeah, it's basic, it's simple, it's super effective. All right. I keep doing that. I am going to get carried away. Now that absolutely nails that Screaming for Vengeance things. It's also probably going to do Dokken, Iron Maiden, and about a billion other 80s bands. Cause yeah, 800s were pretty much all that was available for metal bands at the time. I gotta say, that sounds better than a lot of 800s than I played during the day. I remember always plugging into them going, yeah, what's the big freaking deal? Kind of curious though, what happens if we turn the pedal off and just crank it up to 10? This is something Henning explained to me about the 800, is that there's a treble bleed in the gain control. So if you back the gain off a little bit, it's actually going to take some of the bottom end out of the guitar sound. Let's see what we get here. fuzzy. Now, next up is the JVH, and this is kind of, you know, the real heavy one. Not sure what I'm going to play here because honestly, I'm a thrash kid, not a death metal kid, but this would probably do that period accurate early 90s death metal thing. But the closest I'm going to do is, you know, for him the bell tolls. The whole point of the Amp Knob series is to be simple, but deliver the goods. Drag and drop, and it sounds great. Does it work in the mix? You tell me. Here's the BDM 75 on rhythms and the 800 on leads. Now remember, that's just dropped onto dry tracks and go. No EQ, no multi-band compression, no sorting through 900 impulse responses with names like V30, 121, bass, center cap, lol that way. Just results. So let's give this sim, the Spectre Sound, 5-star breakdown. So for sound quality, 4.5 stars. This collection has almost every Marshall sound you'd ever want, from 70s JMPs to JCM 800s to JCM 900s. The impulses sound solid, and the built-in reverb on the 800 is shockingly good. I say that as somebody who uses an Eventide H9000 as my main reverb. That thing's so crisp it'll slice your face off. This one's not bad at all. Now, unfortunately, nothing here quite nails the crank plexi tone from the first few Van Halen albums, which is literally the first thing I tried to get out of this model, but no dice. That being said, the BDM 75 is perfect for stoner rock and for classic metal tones. Hey Bogren, if you're listening, maybe a super lead model with a built-in EQ pedal sim next time? Let's get that running with the devil tone in here. Versatility, 3.5 stars. It's basic, but that's the whole point. Delay, reverb, 3 impulses on the 800 and only 2 on the other ones. That's it. And guess what? They sound great. Now you can also disable the IR if you want to use your own so it's not locking you down, and that's a win-win in my book. That does give you choices, but it still gives you something to jump off from that sounds great to begin with. Impact, 5 stars. So what the hell is the impact category? Simple. Does this product serve its intended audience? Now, I recently reviewed the Magnatone SL100, which is an absolute monster of an amp. But at $4,000, it's not exactly for the 17-year-old just learning how to mic a cab in their basement. The BDM bundle is for that person exactly. It's for the player who wants a pro sound without needing a 4-year audio degree plus a 2-year unpaid internship at a commercial studio before somebody finally shows you what mix-ready tone should actually sound like. If you've already got a wall of boutique amps, this might not be the product for you. But if you've got a wall of boutique amps and wonder why they sound like shit when you mic them up, then yeah, this might be exactly what you need. Price, 5 stars. Now technically it's 99 euros, not bucks, but let's be honest, bucks just sounds cooler. Euros sounds like something Dieter from Sprockets would say.
Now's the time on Sprocket for me, dog!
Yes, my European friends, that is exactly how the rest of the world sees you. Except of course in Sweden, where they wear corpse paint while politely waiting in line at the bakery. Overall, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. This bundle nails what so many others miss. It's simple enough for beginners, but it's versatile enough for the pros. If you're tired of drowning in presets and you just want to rock the fuck out, this is the sim you've been waiting for. One of the first things I ever said on this channel way back in 2014 was that I'd rather have one good sound than 500 shitty ones. And that's why I had such a huge problem with the Line 6 products like the Pod and the Spider. They gave you options all right, hundreds of them, and every last one of them sounded like shit. Even after 5 iterations, the Spider was still a flaming dumpster fire. Damn, I was fat back then. Anyway, here's why I actually recommend the Bogren stuff, because it solves a problem. Does this guitar sound actually sound good? This, you just drop it in your DAW, hit play, and boom, it fucking works. There's no endless tweaking, no menu diving, no maybe if I change the cab sim and the bias and the sag and the nope, still garbage. You just get great tone that'll sit in a mix without a fight. It's so simple that even a guitar player can do it. So hey guitar players, now that you've finally got the tone nailed, I'm sure you're gonna go write that earth-shattering, mind-blowing masterpiece that you've always been talking about, right? Because now that the hard part's done, you've got no excuses. I cannot wait to hear what you come up with. Fuck! 1997. Fuck. Yeah, this is like every Priest concert I ever saw when I was a kid. This is what I was looking at.